if you guys want to put your questions in the chat, that would be awesome.
We need to get on our phones first. We have to get on our phones and we need to talk about why we even came up with this and the idea behind it.
You want me to get my phone?
Yeah. You have to stay on them the whole times. You have to get on your phone.
Hey, girl, hey.
Hey, how are you?
I'm good, how are you?
I'm great.
I don't even have a phone line, I don't think.
I don't either. I really don't. This is like play. I bought this for my kids. It was like at a garage sale. It's Pottery Barn. And they play Office with it. Or they used to. They're a little bit older now, but they used to play Office with it. And they would get on the phone and like start yelling commands and then hang up really hard. And I was like, gosh, do I do that? Is that where they're getting that from?
I know, the kids, they mimic you. My daughter was in the car the other day and she was like, ugh. She was pretending to talk to her dad on a piece of paper. She was like, I'm texting. Texting takes a long time. She's like 3.5. I was like, oh, Lord. I don't even think she knows what this is, what this contraption is. But
start them young. Start them young.
Yeah. So yeah, we were on a thrift store tour with Andrea, and Olivia found this awesome phone, and then I bought it because I needed it.
And I said, well, I have a phone too, so we need to have like some sort of a chat or hangout or something, and maybe we can ask each other questions.
Yeah. So here we are.
Here we are, though we have some technical difficulties. So just to say it again, you guys, if you will send us your email in the question, in the Q&A part over here on the right side, then we can actually invite you and hopefully we can see your face. All right, I'm just making sure we don't have any other. So yeah, make sure you guys turn off the showcase on the side. On your right sidebar, it should say answer questions or ask a question on the side. Okay, we're gonna get started. What are you drinking tonight? Are you drinking something?
I'll have a little cranberry cocktail thing. What are you drinking?
It's like a, what is this? It's Chardonnay. It's like a Chardonnay, I think. Let's see. Yes, it's actually pretty good. And then I brought you a cupcake as well.
What? Such a tease.
Yeah, I know, because I'm going to eat both of them. They're the most, you can put the whole thing in your mouth at once.
Oh, there's Carrie. Hi, Carrie.
Yay!
What are you drinking? Me? It's like a, what is this? It's Chardonnay. It's like a Chardonnay.
Carrie, I think you're like playing us back.
Yes, it's actually pretty good. And then I brought you a cupcake.
No!
Such a tease. Yeah, I know, because I'm going to eat both of them.
God.
Oh, shoot.
Okay.
Carrie, can you hear us?
This is crazy.
Yeah, like a...
Oh, no. Carrie, can you hear us okay?
I can hear y'all fine.
Oh, good. Good. Okay, you were replaying what we just talked about. It was like a deja vu
I
moment.
wasn't sure what was going on.
How are you?
I'm good. How are y'all?
Good. Good to
Good.
see you.
Here, I'm going to put my phone down because I was like trying to listen to it, and then I was like, oh, it's not.
You're like, it's not connected. Oh my gosh. So, Carrie, we were asking you what you're drinking.
I have
Anything.
nothing. I'm saving up for the weekend.
Okay.
Okay. Good excuse. So for the couple people who just joined, if you can put your email address in the chat or in the Q&A, either one, then we can actually invite you and see your face and really do what this was intended to do, which was for us to hang out and really see each other since we haven't seen each other in a couple weeks. It's been a month. No.
I know.
How long has it been?
Too long.
Okay, so we're going to talk about branding and social media, and everything kind of overlaps, so we don't have to really go in any order, and we don't have to really have any sort of formal flow to this. We can hang out.
Yeah. So, Carrie, do you have any social media or branding questions?
What is probably the best way to get more followers? Because I feel like I went to alt, and then life happened, and I didn't do my whole, like, let me email everyone and be all beautiful and wonderful, and that totally didn't happen. So how do you get more followers?
On which platform? On Instagram? That's what everyone wants to know.
Any or all or whatever you have to check.
Okay. So, I know on Instagram I target followers, so I wrote down my ideal clients, and it's really important that you write that down and you know who you're talking to. And then you know where they are, you find out where they are online. And so let's say like during alt, I targeted alt followers. So I went into alt, I went through their hashtag, and I was very active on their hashtag. And then I also went in their followers, and then I went and liked and commented on just a bunch of people's photos. And that's kind of how because there's a lot of small business owners and bloggers that could use social media help. So that's how I targeted them during that time. But yeah, I mean, you can always look at different hashtags that your clients would use and then go through them. And I wouldn't like go on a competitor's followers and be like, oh, I'm gonna like go through all of them because that's a little sketch. But yeah, other people like complimentary businesses. Another thing you can do is join communities. So again, like during alt, if you were using the alt hashtag, since you blog about weddings, I would go and look at people who are getting married, and you can do that by finding like wedding photographers or wedding planners online and kind of see who's following them.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a lot of reaching out. Another way is to guest blog or to have guests on your blog. Trying to think what else. There's all sorts of things. Featuring other people on your social media accounts. That way they like retweet you or they repin your stuff or what have you. So it's really being generous with your platforms and reaching out to other people. Yeah, I think that's how you do it. It takes some time. Yeah.
Yeah, I would say, just to reiterate, haha.
I know.
Some of the things that Elizabeth said, I completely agree, and I think a lot of that is just engagement. So, on Twitter, and it's definitely time-consuming, but on Twitter and Instagram, replying to things and actually having a conversation. One thing that I'm pushing myself to do, I know to do this, but I don't do it as often as I should, is, for example, on Instagram, instead of just commenting, which I do constantly, love that, love this, smiley face, great pic, or whatever, but really trying to engage a little bit more and ask a question about what was posed. When there's some true engagement there, then people are a lot more apt to follow you back, to share what you're posting, and that goes both ways on Instagram and Twitter as well.
Okay.
Right. Yeah. That's really good. And then when you're going to like people's stuff, you know, you want to keep it genuine. Don't just like something because it's there. You know, make sure that they're the type of people that would want to read your blog and that you're actually liking and commenting on pictures that you like. Yeah, and the other thing is because you're a blogger, you probably want to go on other blogs and comment there and ask questions. The other good one is Facebook groups. They're amazing. So one of my favorites is Blog Society, if you want to join that since you're a blogger. And it's like every time Jacqueline puts a prompt to put your newest blog post or your most favorite blog post, really take that opportunity and post that there. And they've worked pretty well for me, yeah, especially for my blog traffic.
Okay, good to know.
Yeah, that's a great point.
Good to know.
I'm trying to add more people here.
I was just proud of myself for going out and buying white foam board and taking brighter pictures. So I feel like
Every blogger needs some white foam core.
Oh, so on that point, can I tell you guys something?
What?
So on the whole white background, thing, everyone's doing it, and I love it so much. I was telling, I think Elizabeth, I told you when we found the phone, I was like, everyone's doing the gold scissors and the gold, stapler and the white background, and I love it. It's so beautiful. But I'm like, gosh, I really want it somehow. How can I make it my own? Mm-hmm. So I have determined to go against the grain a little bit and to do all of my stuff on a black background just to stand out and be different. So I just been doing it the last couple weeks, so I'll let you guys know how it goes. But yeah, I love the white background and the stylized photos. Everyone's doing an amazing job on those.
So something on that, when I started my business, I had everything on a black background, and my Instagram account was like crickets.
Really?
Yeah, and maybe it was the types of photos I was taking. Maybe it was because I was new to my business and I didn't really have like a strong connection there. But yeah, when I started doing brighter photos, it
turned around a lot.
And the same thing with that is that you do want to stand out, and everyone is doing a white background, and I'm pretty sure that it's on its way to just being trendy and something that everyone did and does. So you think about that.
I will.
Yeah, I've started, just started integrating more real photos instead of just the flat lays to give my Instagram account a little bit more of a different look to it.
I like that. I really think that Instagram is the platform where people want to see more real life stuff. Mm-hmm. Who you are and what you look like and what you're actually doing. So I think that's a good thing to balance that out a little bit, for sure.
I never put my face.
Why?
People don't want to see my face.
Yes, they
it's
do.
Amazing. Every time I post a picture of my face, it gets like a quarter of the likes as everything else.
Really?
Yeah.
That's
if I do an arm or feet, they're all about it. I feel like we're like dissecting body parts on Instagram.
Yeah, I've done a little bit of feet lately, and it's done pretty well. But this is a personal branding person in me saying your face is your logo. Really, you provide the service. So I would encourage you to post more pictures of your beautiful face. Just because you're branding yourself, and people fall in love with people, not arms.
They do fall in love with arms.
That is so funny. Just for you, for the next week, I'm just gonna post like a ton of arm pictures.
Your follower count will skyrocket. Watch. No,
That's a challenge. Let's do
but
it.
I think people might be, your followers are probably used to seeing your face. My followers are,
Yeah.
because I was doing all the flat lays, they're very used to, and they can see it in my profile, but they're just very used to me doing like styled pictures. So.
How do you make the time to do all the styling?
Well, I've gotten much faster at it. So, I mean, I can bang some out in maybe like a half hour, and then I can get probably 4 pictures out of it. Or when I'm just out and about, I will take pictures. Like if I'm getting food, a lot of them I don't use, but I just collect them in case one of them would work.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
but
agree.
at first I was spending a lot of time, but now I'm faster, so.
This is something that I learned. I don't know from who at Alt. Somewhere I heard it, or probably from a couple different people. But to kind of set up a, gosh, I don't know if it was Monique or not. But anyway, to set up a day or a time where this is your photo shoot time or period. So you can set up your white foam board, get your lighting right, and just bang out a ton of photos and say, this is my hour that I'm going to spend doing this. So collect all your, I have a box now, just recently in the last couple of weeks, a box of all of my props and, you know, things that I want to use in styling, and just kind of set up this whole workstation and just, you know, work it out. And then what I do, you'll see a photo. I have a photo of a donut, and everyone's been doing donuts, but I literally ate this amazing donut the other day, and I was like, let me take a picture and save it for the day when I want to use it. So I do hoard a bunch of photos on my phone, and then just so I have them in case I want to use them. And then, like Elizabeth says, a lot of them I end up not using. So.
Yeah, and you can plan them in Latergram. I've been having some problems with Latergram and sharpness, and sometimes they make it pixelated, but you can still open up a Latergram, it's free, and then put all your pictures in there and have a schedule, and then it'll send you a reminder. And then if you don't want to use the picture that you've uploaded to Latergram, you can then keep it on your phone and then open it from your phone. And that way you have a schedule, because all of that time that you're using to set up your foam core, finding the right light, and then getting your props, if you do that every single time, it's going to add up to a lot of time. So like Olivia said, it's really important to set times and do them in bulk, I say.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hey, Elizabeth, what else do you use? Latergram, but what other apps or sites do you use to do your social media posting and scheduling?
Oh, I use a lot. Okay, so I use Latergram, just for posting, and then I use Sprout Social for Facebook and Twitter. But I don't post a lot on my own personal Twitter and Facebook because I spend so much time posting for other people. But, you know, Sprout is kind of expensive, and because I have so many accounts, it's worth it. But it's like $100 a month, so I don't recommend it to clients or anyone that's just tracking their own data. Hootsuite is a lot cheaper, and they have similar features.
What is
Which
it?
one did
It's Hootsuite. It's Hootsuite.
What was the one you said right before that, where you said Hootsuite was less expensive?
Sprout. So it's Sprout. Yeah. I like it because they make beautiful graphs. And I do like data tracking for people. So it works for me, but it's expensive.
I'm actually kind of pretty impressed with the analytics that Pinterest has just added fairly recently.
Pinterest has been amazing lately. I took one of their business courses, and it was all free. And they just gave a bunch of information away. And I was like, I love you. Yeah, I use Tailwind to schedule Pinterest.
Tailwind?
Yeah, Tailwind. It's Tailwind. And that's another thing for Pinterest for getting your content is instead of logging in every single day, because a lot of us don't have time for that. If you do, that's fine. But if you don't, then maybe like a Saturday morning when you have lots of time, you can just schedule a S ton of pins for the next week.
Yeah, that's great. Twitter or Pinterest does take a lot of time, and then I always end up getting so sidetracked and distracted by all the other stuff on there.
Yeah, I logged in there to get an article from my consulting lounge board because I put if I have clients who ask questions and they need an article to like go through it, I post articles there. And I went in to just get one article, and I ended up spending like 40 minutes pinning other stuff. I had totally forgotten why I logged in.
Oh my gosh. Happens to me all the time. So I'm just checking the Facebook page and stuff. Someone says that the link keeps taking them to a dead end.
Oh.
I just tested the link again, and it's working for me.
The one in the description box, I think, is your old one, because I had to copy and paste your change the location one into my browser.
The which one in what box?
You had an updated, like, change the location little update, and I don't think it changed. Gosh, my words are failing me. Like, if you go to the event page, there was a link to follow, but then underneath that, there was a, hey, the location's been changed.
Uh-huh.
And the link in the box, the event box, wasn't the one that was like, hey, the event's been changed. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I thought I changed it, like, as soon as I could afterwards. So
when I clicked on it, it still didn't. It took me to the dead end.
Oh no.
The one in Facebook, it works for me.
Yeah.
I had to click on the actual, like, change the location where you posted it, that actual, like, post.
Got it.
For it to work for me.
Okay. Well, hopefully people can get on it. And anyone who has joined, if you can post your email address either in the chat or in the Q&A, then we can add you so that we could see your face. So we actually have to add each individual person to join us, or you could just watch us, but it's not as fun if you don't join us. So post your email address and we can invite you to come along. Do you guys have any branding questions?
I have a branding question. So when you're branding your, let's say, Instagram account, I just want to hear your thoughts on that. So like open-ended question.
Oh, what, just in general branding on Instagram?
Yeah. Because, okay, yeah, no, I'll just, yeah, your thoughts on it.
From the Instagram expert question.
Yeah.
So my thought on it is that, and this is for anything and everything, and is that you have to be authentic to yourself and try as hard as you can to not try to be like other people. I think authenticity is the best way to go with all your social media platforms. Instagram, I think people that can have sort of a thing, I don't know, theme or something that they're kind of known for. Bethany's not on here right now. I don't think she's on here, but she posts a lot of pictures of her in front of a fence. And she'll talk about different things, and sometimes it's about what she's wearing, but sometimes it has nothing to do with that. And she's even kind of started to use the hashtag fence on fleek, which I think is great because it's kind of become her little signature, kind of her thing. I know that the Bannery loves flamingos, and that's kind of the thing that her little thread, the pink and the flamingos, she kind of does throughout a lot of her different photos, and it's not every single one, but when I see a photo in my feed, I can kind of guess who it is based on this thread or thing or theme or something that you love. And this can be based on your business, it can be based on your brand, but it could be something literally just that personally that you really enjoy and love. Probably a year ago, maybe even when I first started on Instagram a couple years ago, I was doing a lot of pancake posts because I love pancakes. And so it's not something that I've carried through, but that would be an example of something that's personal, has nothing to do with my business, but that I can kind of use in my Instagram theme or Instagram feed to brand myself, or at least to do something where it's kind of expected. So again, if someone posts, I follow a quilter, and she always uses a lot of black and white fabric and a lot of just real funky stuff that older quilters don't use at all. So in my feed, as I'm going through, I can always tell that it's her before I look to see who's posted it, simply because of the fabric that she uses. So hopefully that helps a little bit. I think your bio is super important too. It's really, really important.
So when you're trying to make yourself stand out as a brand, how do you do that? Like beyond the being authentic and genuine. Like,
I think adding.
Like, how do you find your thing? Sorry.
What?
How do you find your thing?
How do you find your thing? Gosh, and that's like a huge step backwards. It's your thing, and it really isn't a social media question. That really kind of is a branding question and a strategy. Because for me, for example, there are so many. If you go to the hashtag personal branding, there are so many people out there doing what I do. A lot of women doing what I do, a lot of African American women doing what I do, a lot of moms. So in order to differentiate myself, I kind of have to really hone in on what's my style of delivery, because that's going to be different from person to person. And there are people that are going to gravitate towards me because they associate or I guess they gravitate towards me because of my style. And then there'll be some people that are turned off by it. There are people who, for example, curse a lot. There's a woman, Erica Napoleon. I love her so much. She's kind of one of my crushes and idols. She used to live in Denver, moved to Chicago. She's a personal branding expert, but she's very raw, very edgy. She curses a lot. It's hilarious because she'll post a lot of things online where she's like, oh, lost another follower, and some people will literally leave these books, comments on the blog of how inappropriate she is, but at the same time, she's gaining some really, really loyal people who absolutely love her. Cursing isn't my thing, but I follow her and I gravitate towards her. So I don't know if that answered your question. Finding your thing is tricky, and that's more of a what do you bring to the table that other people can't duplicate, and that's going to be your personality. So that's why I say post your face. People do want to see it. They want to see your smile. That's something that other people can't duplicate. Find things in your life. You don't have to get so personal. I did a blog post about blogging naked, and literally like a picture of myself. I look naked. I'm not really naked, but just the whole point of really, to your comfortability level, revealing things about yourself and being vulnerable so that people can relate to you and so that you can be set apart from everyone else that's a social media expert online.
There's a lot of them.
I went to this networking event last night, and literally someone was like, oh, well, what do you do? And I'm like, branding and social media. And he goes, well, there's a lot of you here tonight. And I'm like, I know. There's nobody like me, I promise.
But that's the great thing, right? There's room for all of us because we're all different.
Yeah, we're all different. We all have different expertise. We all have different ways of, thinking, and really we all have different ways of talking about something. I was talking to my husband this morning. He's a marketing person too. His style is very raw, and he works a lot with men. And so I was asking him some advice, like some coaching advice. But then I was just like, but remember, I'm not your target. I would never hire you ever because your tone, you're too raw, you're too, and it's not me. So I need you to coach me as, I'm your wife, not a client, because if you treat me like a client right now, I'm going to be really upset and frustrated with you. So we attract, we repel, and it's a beautiful thing.
Yeah. And something on that I've realized is that you have to be okay with repelling. And in fact, I think it is a good sign, and you have to get comfortable with it, because if you're not repelling, then you're not attracting. Like Seth Godin has this quote that I love, and he's like, if you're marketing to everyone, you're marketing to no one.
Exactly.
So it's like, in order to really market to someone, other people are gonna go away.
I agree. It's like vanilla ice cream.
Yeah.
A lot of people like vanilla ice cream, and a lot of people like, vanilla soft serve, and it's fine. But not a lot of people are absolutely die hard in love with vanilla ice cream. They're usually, there's a specific flavor. Like my favorite is cookies and cream. I love cookies and cream. I don't know why it's my favorite. Some people love Rocky Road. Some people hate Some people hate nuts and ice cream, and that's okay. I could go on and on about this analogy.
I don't like nuts and ice cream.
See, but then there's somebody out there that really loves that, and so it's fine. Like you said, there's enough ice cream eaters out there for everybody.
Now you have to write a blog post about branding and ice cream.
You do. You totally do. You could do the same thing with wine.
Yeah.
So with wine, since we're all drinking cocktails tonight while we chat, the great analogy there is that you walk into a really big one of those stores that just kind of makes your head spin because there's so many options, and you kind of you like certain, you like red versus white, and you might have a liking more towards Pinot Noir or whatever, but even in the specific type of grape or type of wine, there's so many brands. And because I'm a branding person, I worked in packaging for a while, I love pretty packaging. So I will literally buy a bottle of wine just because it looks pretty or looks good or cool or different. People, too, will judge us, sadly, but they do, based on, how we present ourselves online. What does our website look like? What is our what do our profiles look like? Does our Instagram feed, is it beautiful, or are they attracted to it? So some people do it that way. But what the wine industry has done over the last 6 years or more, they've gotten really good at telling stories. So on the back of a bottle, it will actually talk about the vineyard and who owns the vineyard and who started it, where is it, and it's owned by a mom and pop, and they have a dog, and all of these different things to really build a story, to tell a story, and to build character around this wine. Because without that story, you kind of start to fall into all the other bottles of wine and vineyards and brands within that price point. And because the price point of wine varies from $3 a bottle that you can actually get all the way up to $30 and $300, it's really important to start to share your story and to really package yourself. If you're a $300 bottle of wine, you have to look the part. You have to be the part, so that all of that applies for us individually in branding ourselves.
Yeah, and this is something I just talked about with a client, is that if you want to charge more, unless you're a designer, you have to hire a designer, because again, it's the packaging. It's like if you're going to charge $300 an hour, you need to look like $300 an hour, you know. So that's where it goes for your website. And I am all about, if you can afford it, to hire a designer. You know, you can bootstrap it on Squarespace. I love Squarespace because it looks nice. I mean, it looks like Squarespace, but it still looks beautiful and streamlined. But yeah, and you know, for social media, I say it always starts with your website because you're sending people somewhere. You
Yeah.
know, you don't want to leave them on Instagram. You want them to go to your website. And so if they go there and they don't know where to follow you on Instagram or Facebook or Twitter, like you don't have your buttons, that's a very common problem. They're not going to find you. If they're on Instagram and they go to your website and it looks totally different, you know, they might not do anything there as well. So.
I totally agree. If you guys, it looks like someone just joined. It looked like Andrea was here. Bethany, if you guys can post your email address either in the chat or in the Q&A, then we can add you so that we can see you. But to your point, Elizabeth, that it's so funny because I look at your website as your home, like your home base,
Mm-hmm.
and then your social media platforms are like cocktail parties, basically. So you go out to Instagram, you mingle, you meet people, you share stories, and then ultimately the goal is to drive people back to your either your blog or your website to learn more about you. Same thing, Facebook and Twitter. And so I always tell people, if you're on Facebook and you're literally, your initial thing is to sell, like come to my website to buy X, Y, and Z or hire me, then you literally just went to a cocktail party and invited somebody home right after you met them. Which, you know, some people do, and I'm not against it, I'm not opposed to it, but building that relationship on the platforms is like mingling and meeting people in a cocktail party. And once you get to know them, maybe you've seen them at a couple different cocktail parties, you've met them on a couple different platforms, then you can say, you know what, I want to get to know you more, so then you invite them back to your house. And if your house is janky and messed up and it doesn't represent who they thought you were, then there's a disconnect, and you will always lose credibility when things are not consistent, when you have someone following you on social media and you appear one way and then you meet you in person. It's like online dating too. They meet you in person and you don't look anything like your picture, or you're just completely different, then you've lost credibility because they kind of don't know which one to believe. Like, who are you really?
Cocktail analogy, right? Because you wouldn't just like meet someone and then be like, "Hey, come home with me." You know, maybe if you're like a frat boy or something. But we're not frat boys here, okay?
We're not frat boys. We're ladies.
Yeah.
Ladies do things differently. That's funny. Let's see. What, Elizabeth, is your thought on a profile picture?
Oh gosh. I like what? Like should it like what it should look like, or?
Yeah, like what are the best profile pictures? Do all your platforms need to have the same one?
I think that they do need to have the same one because a lot of times, like especially if you have a different handle or something on different platforms, it's really important that your picture's the same. Even if you have the same handle, when you search and your picture's different, then they're like, oh, I don't know who that is. I don't know if that's the right person, and maybe they click on it, but maybe you've already lost them. You know, I think on social media, you have to grab people quickly, and it's the same when you're sending them to your website or a sales page or something. It needs to be like they need to know what to do right away, otherwise they're just confused and they leave. So, yeah, keeping that streamlined and the same, I think is really important, yeah. And you know, Guy Kawasaki went over it pretty well. I think it needs to be your face. I think it needs to show something about you. I don't necessarily think that it needs to be like in thirds or anything like he said, but yeah, and nice and clear.
Yeah, I totally agree. No sunglasses.
No sunglasses.
I know Guy mentioned that it should be just your face. Now, I write about marriage and, like, the ups and downs of marriage. And one of the things that Jenna, and I'm going to get her last name wrong, Hubbard mentioned is having him write on the blog as well to get the male's perspective. Is it okay if my picture then is both of us? Because he doesn't play with social media. That is not his thing.
Right. I think it should just be you because it's your blog, and even though he's going to be there. The other thing about that is that profile pictures are small, and a lot of people look at them on their phone, and you can't like click on them to see them bigger. So if it's just like two people, it's going to be really small, and you're not really going to be able to see their faces.
Okay.
So yeah, your space is very limited, so put your beautiful face on it. And then you can put your husband on your blog. Do you have thoughts about that, Olivia?
Yeah, I would totally agree with that. Your profile, a lot of times it's going to represent you because you're the one posting. It's going to be in your voice. So yeah, and like Elizabeth said, it's small, so I would definitely do you. But then make sure on your blog, in your About section, that you have pictures of you two, and so make sure that he's a very, very thorough or a well-integrated element to your blog visually, but your profile picture.
Okay, so profile picture just me. Yeah, we just had pictures taken, and I made like a little scrolly bar at the top of the blog. I'm still working on the dimensions of it, where it is pictures of us in our house and our daily life, and so I'm trying that. We'll see.
That'll be great.
Yeah.
There is, I'm going to draw a blank. Gosh, I wish I had this off the top of my head. It's a blogger that I just stumbled upon last week, and she does, it's about her, and it's frugal. I'm going to have to find this. Maybe I'll find it while you guys are talking, but she talks about frugal mom and all of these different things, but her and her husband do kind of challenges because obviously men and women don't always see eye to eye on certain things. So they do these video challenges every once in a while that are really cool, and it really gives you a peek inside their relationship, which is awesome because then people watching can always, be like, oh gosh, I relate to that, or my husband and I have the same sort of battles or challenges or disagreements, whatever. I'm going to find the blog right now.
Yeah, that sounds like fun.
I need to find it, but it's a This American Life episode, and he interviews this couple, and they talk about an event, and they both talk about how they remembered it, and it's hilarious because it's like totally opposite and different. Yeah, so I think that would be kind of a fun thing that you could do as well.
I'll have to look into that.
I'm always telling my husband, that didn't happen. What are you saying?
Yeah, he tends to forget some of the details. It happens.
But that's the thing. Maybe you're forgetting the details. Yeah, I don't think I am, but
I can't say much. He's not here to defend himself, so.
You're so nice.
I know. I was like, oh, I feel bad now.
I owe him. He cleaned the kitchen today. I gotta be nice.
Okay, so I have the name of this blog now. It's for the number 4 hats and frugal.com. For the number hats and frugal. And one thing that she did that I really love is on her about page, she has a quick video that says, I'm so and so. It talks about who she is, but then it says this is what you're going to find on my blog and on my YouTube channel, and it gives you like examples like sometimes I do this and I cook, and sometimes you'll find me doing this, and then she says, sometimes my husband and I do these challenges, and then literally she kind of splices in quick shots of the things that she's talking about, or videos from past stuff that she's done that she's talking about. So it's like 3 minutes long, and it gives you such an amazing look at who she is, a look at her personality, and exactly what her blog is about. So it's that capturing people's attention immediately through video.
Okay. I'll look into that.
Really cool.
I can look into it.
Cute.
I'm just checking around to see if there's anyone else trying to join. So there is a question on Facebook. I want to make sure we answer. Kimona, let me try to reply to you. Hopefully we can get you on real quickly.
Did Erin make it on?
I don't think so.
Do you have any other questions, Carrie?
I can't think of any. I'm looking over my notes. I have my little notebook out. I'm all nerdy and stuff, and trying to think of anything, because I know I had a couple, but now I can't think of them. So you were mentioning earlier about finding something that's uniquely you. How much do you think hashtags play into that? Like, what's the importance of hashtags? Please explain this to me. I'm sure it's like such an easy
You want
question.
me to go?
Yeah.
Okay, so think of hashtags as a library system for the internet. You put something in a hashtag, and then when you click on the hashtag, it shows up. So you're like filing it in the hashtag. And then it also creates communities, and it allows for you to find people and pictures with similar interests. So if you love donuts and you put donuts, then you can then click on the hashtag and then go to donuts and be like, oh, all these people love donuts too. So it can help with finding your tribe and your people online, and targeting your ideal clients.
How many is too many? Because sometimes I see people and it's like hashtag, hashtag, hashtag. I'm like, yeah. It gets a little overwhelming to me. Like, I just want to see your pretty picture, not a page of hashtags.
Right. So something that I do is I put my hashtags in the comments instead of the caption, so that when someone clicks on my photo, they just see my caption. And maybe I'll add my hashtag at the end of it. And then I put them all in the comments so that if you get a lot of engagement, eventually they'll just get buried and you won't really pay any attention to them. But I've been using a lot of hashtags lately. I'm trying to grow my audience. You know, when it's bigger, I will use less. But it does help to get your pictures in different library systems.
I've been trying it, and it does make me really excited when someone I have no clue who they are is like, we like your picture. I'm like, yes.
Yeah.
I would say, oh, go ahead, keep going.
Oh, no. And then if you want to come up with your own hashtag to promote your brand, you can do that too. A lot of people with products, they'll come up with their own hashtag, and then when people use their product, they'll take a picture, and then they can search that hashtag, and they have user-generated content. So let's say you can just do this for your blog in general, but let's say you wrote a blog post about going out with your husband. You could then make up a hashtag and say, hey, post your pictures of your date night in this hashtag, and I'll feature one of you. Yeah, so that's a couple ways. Do you have more to add?
Yeah, think of hashtags as ways to talk to other people that aren't your people. So
Hmm.
reaching out. And I always tell people to do a combination of hashtags because, um, if you did a hashtag of your name, people aren't going to search
Right.
and use that hashtag because they don't know you. So you
Mhm.
kind of have to do a combination. And so it's like do, one hashtag that's a little bit more narrow in on what you're doing. So with my book, Beautifully Branded, I'll use that hashtag, knowing that not a lot of people know about it. So this one's more custom. But then making sure that then you're using 2 to 3 other hashtags that are even bigger and bigger. So you're like kind of narrow in and close in, and then kind of broadening out in the hashtag that you're using. So um, there are hashtags that entrepreneur. There's like 2 million posts or whatever, so
Right.
it's so big. So you need a combination of small, medium, and big hashtags, and then you can go by you know theme, by day, by product, by there's so many different things to think of that you can use. And I would just play around with them and start to see which ones kind of get the most traction for you. The other thing with hashtags is instead of using a hashtag that you would use in speaking, I hope this makes sense.
Yes.
Try to try to think of using a hashtag that people are that other people are using. So, for example, um, wedding is probably used more than weddings, just because if someone or wedding day versus wedding days, or as a person doing the hashtag with your business, we have a tendency to put a plural or an s at the end. But when other people are posting about their own wedding day, their own wedding, they usually don't put a plural at the end. So just kind of thinking that kind of it's like reverse psychology or reverse thinking. The same thing's true with SEO as you're doing your keywords.
Hmm.
It's not what you are thinking you're posting about, but what are other people using that you can use.
Okay.
And then to go a little further on that, sometimes it doesn't directly relate to your picture. Like I have a client who is an acupuncturist for mothers and pregnant women. So we might do something, a picture of acupuncture, and then, so, we'll do all the acupuncture and the clean living and all of that stuff. But then I also hashtag ones that moms would be in. You have to be careful because you don't want it to be too far out. But because she's doing acupuncture on a mother, I can then use hashtag 26 weeks, which is women who are 26 weeks pregnant, um, or motherhood, or something like that. So you can connect it in a way to make it connect with your ideal clients or readers as well.
Okay.
Yeah, so a lot of mine I've started using like introvert and introvert life, and it just takes a little. Um, and then Susan Kane has a hashtag. I've started using that. Yeah, it just takes a little research and
Mm-hmm.
playing around, like Olivia said.
Yeah, and definitely do the research because there are some hashtags that I just wouldn't think would be inappropriate. That I mean, this
Oh
is
yeah.
not. And then you post to it and look, and it's like, oh my gosh, this is not at all what I thought it was, or it goes to a place that is inappropriate for your audience or for who you are, whatever. This is not that great of an example, but I was last year doing a lot with a yoga client, and I had just gotten these new yoga pants, so I did hashtag yoga pants, which makes total sense, which wasn't a bad choice, but when I look at that hashtag, it's just a lot of stuff. It's just kind of not where I wanted to be at all.
So when I first started, I used local love because it was like a local company, and I was trying to say like support
That.
local. So I said
Huh.
local love, but that is not has nothing to do with small businesses and selling locally made products. You,
I don't want to know, or do
yeah.
I?
So that's another one. If you look at like boss lady, yeah, you have to be careful with some of the boss lady ones too,
Yeah,
because there's all kinds of small business owners out there.
right, right. So do think about that. I had a wedding photographer client, and we came up with a hashtag strategy, and we literally listed out, here are the 2 hashtags that you're always going to use because they kind of represent you. Her focus was on elopements, and so she coined the term tiny weddings. A lot of people talk about small weddings, intimate weddings, but her website was more around tiny weddings. So we always use that hashtag, but then we also want to make sure we're using intimate ceremony. That's used a lot. Small wedding is used a lot. Elopement wasn't, but I think it was around the time, this was a little bit ago, when Kim Kardashian got married to Kanye West, and she kept talking about how they were going to elope instead of doing this big wedding, which they didn't do anyway, but she started using the hashtag elope instead. I don't know, something like that. And so it was hot around the time. It's not hot now. So at that time, she picked up that hashtag for a season because a lot of people were using it. So there's some stuff that, you know, will ebb and flow based on social events, current events as well.
There's also a lot of communities, especially on Instagram, and sometimes they're hard to find because they're really named obscurely and their hashtags are really obscure. But a trick I do is, like, if I'm going into a photo challenge or a community that fits in my Instagram style and the people I want to work with, I will go in and look and click on things and look at what other people are using as well. And I found a lot of communities that way.
Okay.
So I have a couple people that are my hashtag researchers. They're amazing at finding hashtags, so I go in and see which ones they're using, and then I go from there.
Hey, Elizabeth, we're kind of running out of time, but you had quickly started talking about Facebook groups, and then I think we got a little distracted or something.
Yeah.
Do you want to talk about that real fast, and then we can close out?
What about them? Just using them to market yourself?
Yeah, and to gain more followers.
Okay.
Or new exposure.
Right. So you want to join some Facebook groups. Some of them will be in your industry, like bloggers. They support each other, so joining a blogging Facebook group is good. But the other place that you want is you want to reach your ideal client where they are. So if there's some marriage Facebook groups or something, you want to join those and really just make your presence known. So if something comes up that's relevant that you could answer, or you have a blog post on, you post it. You share other people's content when they post it, chat it up, you know, like we were talking about Instagram. And yeah, anytime there's an opportunity to post your blog, you do that. A lot of Facebook groups will also have threads where you can add your social media. So just make sure to do that. Yeah, I mean that's it.
And I would just say too, with those, just kind of be careful, because a lot of times groups will have, you know, rules and stuff. They don't want people saying too much. I think if you're adding value and tips and tricks and resources, just think of it as these are your friends, and would you get on and just sell to your friends? No, you'd probably want to help them out. So have that philosophy.
Yeah. And always read the group guidelines, because you don't want to encroach on someone's group or promote yourself when they do the same thing as you. It just makes you look bad. But yeah, and that's why I say, like, if someone asks a question and it's relevant, then you answer it. But yeah, don't just go in there and be like, this is my blog, read it. That's a real quick way to get people turned off from you.
Good to know.
Yeah.
Okay, guys, I think we're wrapping up. Sorry for the technical difficulties. If anyone tried to join us, we're so sorry. I'm going to post the link to the video so that you guys can read it if you like, or listen to it, not read it, if you like. And then let us know. You guys can either post on the Facebook group, send us a tweet, anything, and let us know if this was helpful and if you want us to organize it again, and maybe we'll do a little better job. But hopefully this was helpful and beneficial. It was great hanging out with you. Carrie, thank you so much.
Good to see you.
Good to see you too. We'll talk to you guys later.
Thanks, guys.
Bye.
Bye.